Good afternoon, RU friends and family members. This is Richard Wallace Jr., Reformers Unanimous Chapter Director number 520, based out of Flower Mound, Texas, with today's Director's Daily Dose that keeps the devil defeated. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait until tonight at 7 o'clock right here in Flower Mound as we come together as an RU family, as an RU nation, to learn the truth about addiction, and that we can let that truth set us free, finally. And man, I love that. Don't you love the ministry of Reformers Unanimous? I know it was the lifeline that God used in my life to salvage me from and my family from the destruction and the death that's found in addiction. And I'm so thankful for Brother Currington. I'm so thankful for the ministry of Reformers Unanimous, and I can't wait. I mean, I just really can't. We're 2.5 years well on our way to our third year here at the ministry of Reformers Unanimous, and I'm excited today, as excited today as I was on May 25th, 2007, when we launched our chapter, and I'm just excited to see what God is going to do in our place tonight. He always does something spectacular, something amazing, something miraculous that only God could do, and I'm looking forward to it. Hey, give to Joys for Toys this year. We have so many families, so many needs in this recession, so many kids that are going to have a difficult Christmas unless you step up in a Christ-loving, Christ-honoring way. Exodus chapter number 3. Exodus chapter number 3, what we find here is a dialogue between a man, just flesh and bone, just like you and I are today. We find a communication between him and God. In a burning bush, you guys know the story. We're in the backside. The setting is a place, the backside of the desert of Meridian. And by the way, Moses' sin had driven Moses to the backside of that desert. You remember Moses trying to accomplish God's will, trying to do a good thing, but not in a good way, not in God's best way, trying to push his will and his way, his work and his wisdom, not allowing the Spirit of God to lead him to rightly do that, and committing that murder, trying to hope that the ends would justify the means, but being run out into the backside of the desert. And Moses now for 40 years has been in the backside of the desert. For 40 years he's just been tending his father-in-law Jethro's sheep. For 40 years, this great man of God, this great patriarch, this great hero, this great staple of the faith has been doing seemingly menial tasks. And it's in the middle of one of these seemingly menial days that all of a sudden God appears to him in his Shekinah glory. God appears to him from a burning bush, not only a burning bush, but a talking burning bush. And God gives him commands and orders him to do things. But in the middle of this dialogue, this conversation between God and Moses, we find the 19th verse of Exodus chapter number 3, where God gives a great truth that's so applicable today in the lives of the addicted and in the lives of the people that are going to come into our Reformers Unanimous chapters, yea, even into every person who's ever been set free by the blood of the Lamb. I want to read it to you. I'll make brief application and then we'll be done. Exodus chapter number 3, verse 19. God speaking to Moses from the burning bush, God says, "And I am sure." Now, hey, when God says, "I'm sure about something," you and I better listen up. When he says, "I am sure that it's more blessed to give than to receive," when he says, "I am sure that you ought not lean unto your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge me," when he says, "I am sure that there's one way, one truth, one life, and no man comes unto the Father but by me. I'm so glad that I serve a sure God today. I'm so glad that I've been set free by a sure Lamb today. I'm so glad that I don't have a think so, maybe so, want so God. I've got a surely so God. And man, that'll preach right there. But God says, from this burning bush, he says, and I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. No, not with a mighty hand. If you know anything about Scripture, you know that the land of Egypt is a type or a representation, if you will, of the world or of carnality, of sin. And so, quite literally, I think you can make the application here when God is talking about Pharaoh not letting the children of Israel go, being the king of Egypt. Hey, there's one king of this world, and that is Satan. And God says, hey, I'm sure of one thing, that the devil, the king of this world, the prince of the power of the air, will not let you go. No, not with the mighty hand. You see in verse number 17, he says, I will bring you out of the land of the affliction. Hey, God understands that there's affliction in the world. There's affliction in sin. Hey, there may be pleasure, but after the pleasure comes the hard taskmaster. After the pleasure comes the death. After all that's good, seemingly good about sin, it comes the affliction. And he says, hey, once you're wrapped up, once you're enslaved by that thing, the devil will not let you go. No, not with the mighty hand. Don't be surprised, loved one, when your loved one stumbles and relapses and struggles in sin. Understand, God's already told us that the devil won't let us go. No, not with the mighty hand. Hey, understand, student, that when you struggle and have difficulty to keep your walk right and to keep your meditations right and to keep your heart right, God's already told you, don't be surprised. God, the devil will not let you go. No, not with the mighty hand. Don't be surprised, director. Don't be surprised, challenge group leader. Don't be surprised, helper. Don't be surprised when students struggle and when sin overtakes them. Don't be surprised, church member, when that baby Christian that you see come in so rough and struggling to maintain their sobriety and struggling to maintain Christianity. Don't be surprised when they fall, for God has told us. When he told Moses, he says, I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. No, not with a mighty hand, but praise be to God. Praise be to God, the psalmist knew better than anybody. There was one with a stronger hand. There's one with a mighty hand. There's one with the power of his hand. He holds the very worlds in existence. He holds the galaxies in place with the very words of his mouth. He spoke forth all that is creation. Glory be to God, that although the devil will not let go with the mighty hand, God has a stronger hand, and he is able to deliver thee. I cannot wait. I cannot wait until tonight at 7 o'clock. God bless you. I love you all.